them in the door, right? And that's the whole thing. You got to understand how people work, right? You got to go out as a farmer, right? So you're tilling the land, you're watering, you till the land, you're watering. I was on James Lee's phone call the other day, and I think he said it best. It takes about a year for people to really comprehend what we do, you know? Like the guys that came from like the New Arish days.
That's awesome. You got it. You got it. That's right.
We'll just all look, right? So, so for you, what hurdles are you facing right now?
My hurdles right now are I'm facing the closing people. I'm doing well putting butts in
Okay,
seats.
no, it makes sense.
I'm getting them to even more than one event. Follow-up is now the place that I need to build my strength.
Where you get? How are you lead generating?
Signs, Toastmasters.
Okay.
Facebook a little bit.
Okay. Which been your most successful?
Toastmasters.
Toastmaster, yeah. There's a good. Now, are you just going to one Toastmaster club, or are you going to multiple?
I've gone to 2.
Okay.
On a regular basis, and this is the second one. And actually, the 3 people that are coming tonight are in that club. And I've done them all for more than a year.
Excellent.
So that's been my greatest lead source. Because the people are like-minded to what we do already, and they're ready for it.
Well, yeah, and most of the time, if you're going to a Toastmasters during the day, they're usually doing, they have a profession that they don't need to be at work during the day.
Right.
So, I like all the Toastmasters I went to were always before noon. And that's, I've got 2 combos out of it.
Yeah.
But I got a realtor who actually feeds me leads now all day long.
Okay.
So as he gets them, he goes through. So it's just doing that. Closing, hang out with Kevin.
Well, he's straightening me out a little bit in terms of my
right.
Tough love, right? Is that what you call it? Awesome.
Grant Cardone's Close the Survival Guide.
I've listened to that 3 times.
There's only like 5 chapters you really need. It essentially comes down to the same 5 answers. And once you learn how to master that, Ribo Jiu-Jitsu, you're fine. How about funding? Is funding an issue?
Sometimes I tend to attract people.
Oh, sorry.
I found myself that I've been attracting people that are not necessarily qualified to do Extreme Plus combos. They might be broke. They might be really having a hard time. But they can do UGA. They can do Essentials. Yeah.
Perfect. So so following up and just closing.
Exactly.
Welcome to 99.99999% of all of us.
Well, and the thing that I learned, I just went through literally the 3rd time today, the Closer Survival Guide. And what I learned, what really hit me this time, is that people don't practice, drill, and rehearse their closes enough to make them effective, and they maybe only have 4 or 5 of them where you may need 100 of them.
Okay.
And so I'm committing myself to doing that because that make the biggest difference, I think, in my life and my business right now.
Excellent. Now, when you rehearse, are you with somebody that makes you uncomfortable?
Well, other than myself,
No, like
okay, so yeah, and I think that's a little bit about. One of the reasons why we like to do ATM training because Richard gets in our face a little bit, and he sometimes will make us uncomfortable, with things. So that's been good. But I think we need to maybe do more of that, or I need to do that with someone that might make me a little uncomfortable.
Try to do that. There's a lady that I work with presenting. She makes me extremely uncomfortable every single week, pushes me well outside my boundaries, and every week it gets better.
Are you talking about me?
No, I'm not. Oof. I think you took that in. I'm putting that out to the universe. So I knew somebody.
I think he's talking about me. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing.
But the thing about it is when you find like accountability partner like that pushes you outside those bounds, right? I took Raul's Closer Survival Guide the week afterwards, 2 combos.
You could run a little role play.
Yeah.
You could do a little bit of role play.
Hey,
why not?
Hey, John, if I can show you more than $40,000 of interest savings tonight in this move that you're about to make, wouldn't it be worth it?
What do you mean $40,000 interest?
Well, in your product that you're about to buy from the bank, if I could show you how to cut down that interest by more than double what the cost of an Extreme Plus combo is there any reason you wouldn't get started tonight?
Well, the mortgage rate's only 3%.
I understand that. I'm talking about less interest, not lower interest rates. Do you confuse interest rates with total interest cost?
We're gonna stop right there. There's a lot of stuff you're saying that the common person doesn't know.
This guy's a smart intellectual guy,
Okay.
though. You know, I mean, he's kind of a, yeah.
Excellent. Because I keep it simple sailor, like that's how I tell you.
Absolutely, I wouldn't say
So,
that to most people.
no, excellent. So I would, can you do velocity banking on a napkin?
Not sure. I don't think so. I need to be able to.
If you can do it on a napkin, you'll close like anybody with a HELOC, you'll close them almost right then and there. Because essentially you draw it out and you do the bucket real quick. Have you ever seen Michael Huggins' bucket?
No.
Hold on. I'll email this to Darren or Kendall and have them send it out. So this is the bucket. Learn to do this on a napkin. Essentially, it's all your payments, what you owe, the value years remaining, and then you have the bucket. And this is where you show them how to pay off their debt. So anybody with a substantial amount of HELOC, you can literally show them in a matter of 18 months they're completely debt-free. And when they see that and you can whip it out, who's the expert in that conversation? You are. It doesn't matter how smart anybody else can be, but if you know one thing better than anybody else, you are now the expert in that field. And you own it.
Text me and ask me for the webinar. I got a copy.
Which one? Michael's?
Huggins, yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure if I have your phone number.
So, so we'll put that off the side. I'll put it off the side, make sure you guys all get it. I'll send it to, actually, I think I still have. So, but the whole thing is, if you can show that bucket real quick and efficient, I mean, that's how I've got my last two. And have a lender ready to go. Like mine's Kelly. As soon as I got them ready, I'm already calling Kelly, hey, so-and-so is going to be giving you a call now. And then she's already anticipating it. So, and I've already edified everything, I already set the stage, so now she's already got the packet ready to go. And it makes it a lot easier versus, oh, what is this for? We don't tend to do this product. Like when you work with the same LO over and over and over again, you get Christmas cards because you're making her Christmas bonus. Right, so there's a couple, and find multiple credit unions too, because some of them will, like there's some that are now doing 100% loan to value on vacation rentals. Right, I mean you have to have a 780 credit score, but if you have somebody like that, I mean, like we do right now, like if I can get my cabin HELOC, I mean I bought it for 57, it's worth 120. I got to own it for 6 months to put a HELOC on it. Okay, 6 months HELOC, boom. Now I have a line of credit on it. It's still my Airbnb. But if you have multiple people like that, then it speeds up the process for them and it makes them less likely to come up with excuses like, oh, it's a sign, or oh, this is gonna happen. No, you mitigate all that. Fast pass. What's the clearest path I get from here to the door and move everything out of the way.
And I think having a path too for people who don't necessarily have the avenue for a HELOC. So is Umpqua Bank down here in Southern California? Okay, because that's something I know James is really big on, is being able to walk people in and actually get them set up with that $50,000 unsecured line of credit that they can use for chunking.
Yeah, and I mean, I just got the local branches. I mean, we're talking like Encino.
Navy Federal does a 15% line of credit for vets.
Okay.
That's another avenue.
All right, and a couple of those, both of those Extreme Plus combos are Navy Federal Credit Union. So.
Oh, excellent. So now every night so one of my goals is every time I'm at an event, I always bring somebody, no matter what, right? And how many phone calls did it take, how many follow-ups it had to take? And what I started doing was quality leads over quantity leads. So how big is real estate in Southern California? Right, everybody's in it, right? How many lunch and learns happen every single day throughout the valley, or throughout here? Start tying to title companies, mortgage companies, real estate companies. They're always putting on lunch and learns because they need continuing education. And it's kind of nice. You get to go in and sit on that continuing education, so you kind of learn what's going on. The funny thing, you're going to know more than most of them, so you got to bite your tongue a lot of the times. But then you start building up your database because you're going to be the only real estate investor. That's it. You know, you walk in, you know, crisp, clean, ready to go, take notes, ask 1 or 2 questions. I ask a smart question and a dumb question to kind of balance it out, right? That way it kind of, you know, and then people come up to you like, what do you do? Well, I'm a real estate investor. Oh, yeah, I work with lots of investors. Oh, excellent. What kind? You know, because every realtor has an investor, I swear to God. Well, because if you go to any guru event, they tell you to find a realtor and make 50 offers. So they count that as their investor. I'm like, no, you're a tool. You're just making 50 offers. Like, they didn't even run numbers. They're just seeing who's going to do it. But then if you pull out the HELOC, or you talk about a subject to that you just picked up, or an apartment building you're working on, like a project you're working on. Because essentially, you know, you're making as many offers on properties as you are as students, you know, future students coming in. So you always kind of balance those out. So when everybody says, what are you doing? Oh, I'm actually analyzing a 23-unit apartment building. What? How does one get that? I was like, oh, we're still working, you know, we're still in the due diligence phase, and, you know, there's something a little bit wrong about the numbers. And like, oh, what else? You know, how'd you find it? Oh, you know, it's just on the Craigslist, whatever, you know. And you just leave it at that. And they're like, well, if you're interested in more in what I'm doing, you know, Darren's got a flip going on Saturday, you know, come hang out with one of us. And that's a great way to get into property tours, especially realtors. I find realtors watch way too much HGTV.
Hey. Hey.
But
Your only station?
she was on HGTV. She had her own show. That's why I always make that joke. I want my own TV show. Like, what, Gladiator, like, no. But that way, so now, like, you're getting quality leads. And then I always become Facebook friends with realtors, loan officers, title companies. So they're seeing what I'm doing. So as soon as you get something under contract, I post it on Facebook. And then everybody's like, ooh, and then you get 117 likes. And if you find 2 or 3 people that kind of fell off the radar, they're back on the radar again, reach out. Hey, I'm actually doing a workshop this Saturday. You want to come? Be my guest. Or, hey, let's go get coffee. Hey, I got to do this workshop real quick, and let's get coffee afterwards. On me. Right? And then you start doing that. And then you're also tying in that database. There's a lady, she wants nothing to do with real estate investing, but she scrubs 200 properties a day for investors. She doesn't know what to do with the ones that we can subject to. So 2 of us are sitting down Sunday, and we're gonna garble those all up, and then we'll give her $1,000. What do we put it as? Consultant fee. You know, consultant fee, because they can still get that. So now these 20, 30 leads that she has a month aren't getting thrown aside. Now people in the community can pick them up.
So what do you do, like, if you're new? So if I
Are you new?
to one of the lunch and learns, yes.
Perfect. Excellent. You're in the perfect spot. Perfect.
No. So if I go to one of these lunch and learns,
Oh, hold on.
We're going to give you a microphone so everybody who's watching on streaming knows your question.
turn the lights off?
The light turn, yeah, push the button to the lights off.
Oh,
Not the bottom.
not that one.
Okay, so
And what was your name again?
Sherry,
Sherry. Nice to meet you, Sherry.
nice to meet you too. What do you do if you're new?
Brand new.
Right? Yeah, so if I'm
Energy.
going to this lunch and learn, I can't be like, I have this and I have that, and you know what I'm saying?
You exchange business cards.
Okay,
That's all you do.
yeah.
Like, well, what are you doing? What do you do now as a profession?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher. Excellent. If you're in Arizona, you'd be on strike right now. They all walked out. No.
Really?
Excellent, because you're a teacher and everything. And so you say you go to these one lunch and learns, or Saturday, or whatever, you know, whatever you can get to, or a networking thing. Like, what do you do? Well, I'm a teacher right now, but I'm building up my rental portfolio for my retirement. What? Well, my 401k, I mean, it's not doing so well. So now we're looking at picking up at least 10 rental properties. Oh, well, I thought and you're going to play some verbal judicial with people, and be like, yeah, and there's a technique you can learn to pay them all off in about 10 years.
Yeah.
What? You didn't know this? Oh my goodness, you need to come to my workshop.
Okay.
And somebody does velocity banking, right? And then are you making offers? Are you analyzing deals? New homework assignment.
That's
And
okay.
that's okay. So see what I'm saying? Like, so as you analyze deals, like earlier, Chris is like, how many deals have you analyzed? I'm like, millions? I don't know. Like, I'm always looking at real estate.
Okay, so when you say, how many deals have I analyzed, what do you mean?
You ready? You want to do a deal right now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Ask, what education package do you own currently?
Everything.
Everything?
I got it all.
Perfect. So everybody write this down, hudhomestore.com.
Okay.
I've done so many HUD homes, it's crazy. So let's go one of the cities that we follow. Perfect, search.
You should search around here on local market.
Oh, yeah, we can, sweet. I didn't think about that, California.
Yeah, search your local market.
what's California? What, M-U-R?
Yeah, Murrieta.
Not 3 R's, 2. There you go.
M-U-R-I?
Murrieta, you need an A.
2 R's.
Yeah, I got
2 R's and you need an A.
Just
There you
one
go.
T?
There you go.
Yep,
There's nothing here in HUD. You're in California.
okay.
So we're just gonna do North Carolina because I'm actually analyzing this one deal just for. Okay. So I love military towns. I was in the military 14 years. Okay. The reason why I love military towns is I put a service member in them, and if they do not pay, I call the commanding officer. Then I get paid, and then I get direct deposit. So who always gets paid? Right? So I have zero sympathy for guys that don't pay their rent because I was an E2 nothing and I made sure I made my rent. So, okay, so right now I have 4 deals. Right there. That's 4 deals you can analyze. Okay? So when you take the market analysis course, you're going to understand, okay, what would this is actually the house I'm going for. It is not new. It's been on the market for 6 months. They post new because I understand the website. Right? I could probably pick this up for $99 now. This one too, this one's not new, this one's not new. And the one that just lowered last week, but it's got structural issue, that's why it's still there. I just know this area. I've done a flip and I'm picking up another rental here. But essentially, if I go through this and do what Brian Stump does, well, I just did 4 analysis on 4 properties, either to flip it or turn it to a rental or a vacation rental. It's not gonna be a very good vacation rental, it's Fort Bragg. Most Army bases are not in cool spots. Like the Army's like, this is the worst spot in America. We're gonna put a base here. Where the Navy's like, this is San Diego, we're putting our boats here, right? Or Hawaii or Jacksonville, right? Yeah. But because I know this area and because I've taken Brian's class probably 6 times, yeah. I can do a market analysis better than most realtors.
Okay, so what do you mean by?
Okay, so what's your analysis then?
Okay.
Besides looking at the price and
So
how long it's been on the market?
They want $154,000 for this house.
Uh-huh.
I already know they want way too much. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I know there's different techniques I know with HUD homes because I've done so many. I know I could probably get this for $99. It takes some time. Okay? But if I get it for $99, what's the rent for a 5-bedroom, 3-bath in that area? $1,200. Right? My mortgage on that, $655, I think it was. Okay? So I'm looking at $655, $1,200, property manager, $100 a month, maybe $120, depends who you. I have a very good one because I've worked with them. But now I would cash flow $400 a month on that property.
Okay.
That's a market analysis. So when you're looking at properties, and I just know this because Krista put me through this gauntlet like 20 minutes ago, because I go through a lot of properties. And the more you start going through them, the faster they just go.
Right.
You'll just like yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes, 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 no, and then you just create a list. Right? The other thing is how I got my first investor or how I started getting people is I copied what Darren did. I literally was on auction.com for 2 months, followed every single property in Maricopa County, what it sold for, how much, then after they fixed up what they sold for. Create a spreadsheet. That spreadsheet, I raised $300,000. But it showed that I was applying the classes, right? So when you see that and you become the expert, right? Like, oh, what do you now? So, well, I look at auctions. What do you mean? Well, we're raising some funds. We want to see where the market's going right now. Because everyone's like, yeah, the market's always changing, right? You're being vague, right? But now you're starting to become the expert because these realtors are going to be like, what? What do you mean it's changing? I don't know what's going on, right? Because they're running around everywhere and they very rarely sit down and actually look at the market, what's going on. Like right now in Phoenix, the market's going sideways. And nobody sees, I mean, we've been seeing it. Like it's going sideways. Certain areas like, whoa, these are telltale signs, right? But most realtors haven't seen that. Well, if you're the first one to say that, people will be like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. But one of the guys I work with, he's done over 200 flips and he stopped flipping right now. Right? Just that. But what you're going to do is now people know who you are. They know who Sherry is. You exchange business cards, you become friends on Facebook, and then 6 months later, after you do your first deal, right? You're planting the seeds now, tilling the land and everything else. I mean, some people are going to be crazy like me. They see the presentation once, they enroll like the next day. Right? That's an anomaly. Right? And that's just because I knew who Mark Kohler was. Like Krista came in super quick because she saw all the education. Krista spent over $60,000 on other people on other education. Saw everything we offered. Literally pulled out her platinum cards like boom, right? you find those people, they're much easier to get in, right? Like, and how many RIA, like, where's the closest RIA group here?
There's one in River Temecula.
Right.
but that means one-
Go hang out at those meetups. Because a lot of those people don't want to pay for anything, but the more they start seeing you and they realize, oh wow, you spent $20,000 and you've done this, then they start coming along.
What's RIA?
Real Estate Investor Association.
REA.
Yep.
Okay.
Good question. So, but this way, when you start getting your name out there, and then like, do you still have any student loan debt, Sherry?
Say that again.
Do you still have student loan debt?
No.
No, okay. I just know a lot of teachers who do, right? So,
No, I took care of that already.
but how many teachers do you know still have student loan debt?
A lot, because I teach at a school where there's a lot of young teachers.
Exactly, right? So now you can show them chunking and debt acceleration to them. They might not want to be real estate investors, but you got some
Oh,
essentials.
that's a good idea.
I've gotten a lot of teachers in that way. I think 5. Just the essentials. That's all they need. That's all they want.
Right.
But if they do change their mind, they're already used to paying me money. So they're
Okay.
going to go.
Have you guys played the Velocity Banking game yet here in
Yes.
the office? Did you like it?
Yes, it was a long process, but yes, we did. Yeah, and I actually brought a coworker to one of those games. You know, because I teach math, and so it's just so interesting to see like the application of all the stuff we actually teach.
Right.
Yeah,
It's powerful.
yeah.
I mean, we did what, 2 rounds in a couple hours?
We did 2 rounds in an hour.
Hour.
Yeah, we did 2 phases of it in an hour. So we're now using that game as a secondary exposure that's going on while we're doing the Epic in our main room.
Have you replaced cash flow?
We have.
Gotcha.
Yes, we have. Not everywhere, but just like, and we're finding that with just a little bit of an intro on the front of it and then a little bit of a close at the end, that it's very, very effective. Especially because phase 1, you're looking at doing it without the education, and then obviously phase 2 with the education, so people start saying, well, how can I get educated? So what we're finding is now all the events we're doing in Phoenix, at least out of the main office, are standalones. So they can be a first exposure or a second or a third, and it's becoming very plug and play. So the people that you know are interested just in that, you can get them down to something like that first, and then maybe say, hey, are you interested? You know, if they say, well, how do I get educated? Take them to a property tour, then bring them to your office and let them hear what the whole thing is about. Let them spend some time with you and start building that rapport and a little bit of a relationship. So.
Did that help, Sherry?
Yes. So what you're saying is like for teachers who still have student loan debt, then instead of them doing the chunking thing for the student loan, for whatever, a house.
For a house, do it on
They would
student loan.
be doing it for a student loan.
Because I grew up in New York, so every time I go to New York, I hear like my friends still have like $120,000 student loan debt, like
Yeah, I know.
10, 12, 15 years later.
Yeah. You know, oh my goodness, you are just making me think about this girl that I met last week, and she was like, she just looks like so stressed out because she changed her major a couple of times, and so she has like all
known
the
a couple
student
doctors who do that, yep.
loan debt, and now she wants to become a nurse, and so she knows she has to do her BSN and her MSN or whatever, I don't know,
Yep.
whatever, MA for nursing, and she's like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, right?
Oh, they'll still give her the money.
Yeah.
They have no problem giving. They're making 15% on that.
Right. So then I'm just thinking about like, what would I talk to her about? Because she is just, you know, her BS degree, she's finished with that one.
Okay.
And that one's put on, well, she's paying interest, but she doesn't have to make payments yet.
Right, they're
Right.
deferred.
Yeah, deferred.
Because she's still in school, but she changed programs. And
Right.
Yeah, it's a cash cow. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But when you defer, it can tend to set your credit upside down too.
No, they got rid of that for the banks.
Oh,
for
did they?
For homes, yes, because they took that all out. So now, like, as it's deferred like that, there was a big uproar, but now the banks will actually not look at it, and it doesn't affect your credit when you're trying to buy a house. It's the
Well,
stupidest
that's a
thing ever,
relief.
because you still have a bill to pay,
Yeah.
right? It just leads
Right.
to another crash. So, but yeah, focus on that, and then find out who you are, Sherry. Like, you know, like I'm a networker, so I did bandit signs a lot. I didn't like the phone calls afterwards. Like you're on it all the time. It just didn't fit me. But you see Michael Huggins do it like 8 hours a day, and it's his thing. Mine's not. Mine is I go meet people, and then I'm like, I have a loan officer lady. She wants nothing to do with Renatus, and she's always sending me guests. She loves the product, but she just doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But she's like, oh my goodness, you need to meet this realtor. Oh my goodness, you need to meet this person. And she just sends them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Excellent. Because that one person, like every so often, like, oh, you know, who are you here? Oh, I'm a friend of Benita sent me. Well, as soon as they hear Benita, they know Benita's my friend, and then, but they just randomly show up.
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as people know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
right, then it's easier for you to capture leads, either real estate or student-wise.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, as a teacher, you start doing this. I mean, Chris Alvin was a teacher, and now he owns half of Chicago, like the lower suburbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as you start understanding that, you're gonna like, oh, wow. And then as you start picking up one rental at a time,
Right.
right? I know a lot of people in California, they're actually investing in the Midwest. A lot of people in Phoenix are investing in the Midwest.
Well, that's interesting because I have a coworker who would like to start investing, you know, but he didn't want to do Renatus. He's like, I think I can do this on my own or whatever,
Keep
right?
killing the land.
But he will lend me money to do deals.
Then you keep him on the lending side.
Yeah, but I think, I mean, eventually I think he would.
Eventually
whatever.
he will.
Yeah.
How does he know if he's lending against a deal that's actually a good one?
I think he's depending on me for that. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can we talk for just 1 second about the ways in which that can go sideways?
Yeah.
This is a good entry point for you to talk about. You really do appreciate the fact that he wants to lend you money, but you're concerned for him because if he doesn't have any education surrounding real estate investment or any experience with the strategy that you're working on, then how can he make that decision
Right.
for whether or not something's credible?
Right.
And it's all fine until it's not fine, right?
Right,
So does everything go smoothly in a real estate transaction?
Not necessarily.
Especially when you're renovating something? No, there's always a surprise. So
Like a
in
new
the
furnace.
off chance, right, $50,000 worth of heating. But on the off chance that something goes wrong or he becomes upset, then what happens is he comes back and he says, but Sherry, you told me everything was
Right.
going to be okay.
Right.
So what you can say to those people is, I really want to work with you, but I have such a concern and a responsibility for the people that, you know, lend me money because I look at your money as if it's my own. I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least request that you educate yourself,
Okay.
right? Let me show you how we do that. Why that's so important to you, because what you learn really quick in this business is doesn't matter if you're the wholesaler or the private money lender or the person actually flipping the deal who I call the developer, everybody needs to be on the same page for safety. And when you express a concern for his safety, it actually gives you added credibility. It takes you from here to here.
Okay.
Then he might say, wow, she's really interested in doing business with me, but she wants me to be safe.
Yes.
Maybe I should go check out exactly what it is that she's doing.
Okay.
And then you can balance on the strength of the team. So you have a tremendous team and people doing all kinds of real estate. You know, so you're right, I've got this tremendous circle and we've done, Darren, how many properties have been flipped inside this community? Between you and Kendall and everybody else that's done real estate?
Yeah, a couple hundred.
Couple hundred deals?
I mean, that's local, yeah.
Just local for this area? Yeah. So you can start to even put together something which I like to call a brag book, which is just samples of deals that have been done inside the community that you can take with you when you go to meet with people and say, let me just show you what's going on. And had you been inside the community and had I known you and had a relationship with you, you could have lent on this deal and here's what you would have earned. They might be interested, they might not.
That changes the dynamics.
Yes,
Now he-
it puts you in charge. You're back in charge of the conversation.
Okay.
And it also, there's a little bit of, not scarcity, but exclusivity. Like, you know what, I work in this particular circle because through everyone being on the same page, there's added safety. So,
Chris, you're removing a lot of that liability off your
That's right.
shoulders. I mean,
That's right.
Key as an investor.
Mhm.
That's why you hire professionals. That's why you do your due diligence. But if he's just laying it all on you, every little thing, any little thing that goes wrong, you know, is your fault.
right. And with the direction Renatus is going, we're really looking, I mean, I know Bob is top down as an organization about really removing a lot of that liability off of Renatus, off of you, and conducting business in a way that's just very, very smart, very efficient, and very safe.
Make sense?
Yep.
Excellent. How about you, Rick? How you doing?
Good. I got started myself, but I'm getting through being laid off the last 7 months, so
Okay.
we're getting started now. I just
Excellent.
got a job. stress off so now I can start doing this.
Excellent. Taking your classes?
I'm starting to.
Perfect.
I just finished all the safeties for the company I work for.
Okay, excellent.
Most boring thing in the world after doing it for 30 years. Safety hasn't changed.
Right. Don't do that.
So I'm going to start doing all the trainings.
Okay, excellent.
Probably starting this weekend.
Perfect. Just set a schedule. Have dates. Like as soon as you write down a due date, that's when it speeds up. Because you're going to hold yourself a little bit accountable. Like, hey, I have to have this class done by Friday, or I have to talk to 2 people. Bring 2 guests by next Thursday. And when you write it down, it changes a lot.
More real.
Yeah. So it's just you're making yourself the boss of, hey, this is my business, this is how I'm running, and you wrote it down. So if it doesn't hit, then it's on you, right? I mean, I've actually had to learn to not write so much stuff on my list, because Friday would come and I only hit like a third done, but I was running out of time. So it became, what's the 3 goals for the week, and what's 3 things I can do every day to reach those 3 goals at the end of the week. So I think that'll help out. Oh.
Sorry, somebody's online and she's like texting me. So like, microphone, please.
There's actually a really good planner for that. Have you guys heard of momentum planners? If you go out, and especially on Facebook, you can query it. Look up momentum planner. So this is, it's a PDF file. It's super cheap, but it starts with year, then it goes into quarter, then month, then week, then day. So literally you can chart out every single thing that you want to accomplish and then connect all of them together so that you know exactly what your emergent and supporting tasks are for each one of the projects that you're working on.
Similar to the Franklin Planner?
Kind of like that on steroids, really is what it is. So but I love it. I downloaded it and started using it, and
What was the name of it?
Momentum Planner. And my productivity actually shot way up because everything was so organized, and I could at any moment see, is what I'm doing. Am I focusing on what I need to focus on today, or am I sort of getting distracted by other things that don't really matter? And I think that happens, especially in this business, is there's always that one thing you don't really want to do. So you'll be like, oh, but I got to go vacuum. Oh, but I got to go do the laundry. I got to run to the store. I got to do something, anything other than what's on that list. But when it's like sitting there staring you in the face, and you're like, well, I'm just not going to hit that goal if I don't take care of it, then you're a lot more likely to actually get it done. So they've just been really helpful for me. May be helpful for you too.
I understand that. We
Yeah.
used to use a planner a long time ago.
Yeah.
And things just change.
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing it written down.
Yeah. Then you can check off, and then move it to the next day, check off.
That's a good feeling though, when you're like, check, 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 check,
Yeah,
check,
it makes you feel good. Every
done.
check you do, it makes you feel like accomplished.
Yeah, you've gotten
You put
somewhere.
everything on there that you can, like get up, brush your teeth, that's what it takes.
Right.
Checks, I'm doing something, I'm accomplishing it.
Like clean my desk. I've been trying to get that check mark for a month now.
Wow,
Not for me.
scary.
Put it all on
I sent Krista a picture. She's
Really
like, what is
scary.
that? And I
Like,
was
what is
"That's-
that? He's like, that's my desk.
that's my
I'm
desk."
like, whoa.
we had 3 flips closed. We picked up another one. It was just like, oh, I got to sit down and clean this. That's Sunday. That's Sunday's task. So painful. So.
your turn.
No, I was going to turn the mic on.
There we go.
So.
That was all done with no mic,
Perfect.
because I go by Rick.
Oh, Rick? Okay.
Yeah, I don't go by Mike. So sorry.
So, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Baltasar? How about you, sir? How can we help you today?
You're Mike Time.
Oh, Mike time. Sherry, you're gonna be my.
She's
save
gonna be
my
Mike
bacon.
running all
I
night.
have to take off my shoes in a minute.
Yeah. Girl, I feel you.
Buenos. I'm here to learn.
Here to learn?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been with the company September last year,
Oh, excellent.
working on my line of credits, HELOCs.
Perfect.
and
Excellent.
Doing what it got me here. The first time I came in, I saw the velocity banking strategy.
Mhm.
Couldn't sleep last night.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Excellent.
That's what I'm here, and I'm still learning.
Okay. Excellent.
Getting all the classes, getting all
Perfect.
and looking forward to accomplish some of the things I already started on.
Excellent. Good.
I've been practicing the velocity banking and
Uh-huh.
piece of napkin.
I'm telling you, you get that down on a napkin, it's powerful. I literally almost have a Sharpie with me at all times,
And
just so I can do it.
It works. I was in at work, and 5 minutes I explained to a gentleman there's a negative as 0,
Mhm.
minus, negative, negative, negative. When I start showing the velocity banking, so we need to see.
Perfect. Bring them.
So I'm working on it.
Excellent. Who else? Hi, I'm Ben.
Hi, I'm Pam.
Hi, Pam. We'll give Pam the mic.
Hi.
So, Chris and I came up from Phoenix this week, kind of help you guys out and everything.
Okay.
So, we've gone over some network strategies, some goal settings, stuff like that. So, right now in your business, what's the biggest hurdle you're having on the marketing, and then what's your biggest hurdle on the real estate side?
Time.
Time?
Yes, I also have a dog business. Like today, I had 8 dogs.
Excellent.
So it gets crazy. I also just wrote a book that came out today.
Congratulations.
So
That's amazing.
yes. So I've been focusing on some other things.
Okay.
So I had to go back to square one because when I
Okay.
got here, I couldn't even get up there and say my name. So I'm serious. I was
Okay.
that shy.
Okay.
So I had to go back and work on a lot of other things first. So
Okay.
right now it's time, but everything's coming together. So
Perfect.
and then on the real estate side,
What's your goal in real estate?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But ultimately, I'd like to get a few rentals and retire and play all
Okay.
day. So
Are you a combo holder?
yes,
Excellent. Have you taken Jay Massey's 3 classes?
yes.
Perfect.
So I go back and forth because I'm not a fix and flipper.
Okay.
I just want to carry the paper.
Ooh. Okay.
So a nice
So
notebook
what are
full
you
of.
flipping? Where's your mindset at? You
So
said 2 things.
where's my mindset
Yeah,
at?
like you said, I'm flipping between one and the other.
Well, ultimately, I'd like to have some rentals and a notebook full of paper.
Okay, excellent.
And
What's
that's it.
easier, rentals or paper?
Well, for me, paper seems easier because
Okay.
rentals, you know, I don't
Maybe
know.
I
if I-
rephrase it. What's easier to acquire right now?
Oh,
Paper.
rentals.
Rentals. Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Excellent, because paper takes what?
Well, it takes knowledge. It's different in different states.
Uh-huh.
I haven't watched all of the classes on
Okay.
that, so I'm not comfortable with
Mhm.
doing something like that.
It takes
yet,
a lot of
so.
money to start that up
Yes.
with notes. It takes a lot of money.
Right.
It's almost easier to raise money for a rental than it is notes.
So I just found another property in Eureka, so
Perfect.
I'm going to put an offer in that,
Excellent.
and I want to get out of my property that I'm in now.
Excellent.
And so that'll be my first rental.
Excellent. All right. We got
So-
this.
Yeah.
Feeling good? Seriously, you got a game plan. You already know what you're doing. A lot of times what I do when I get people that say they don't know what they want to do, I say heads is this, tails is that. Call it in the air, and they yell it. Well, you've already made up your mind what you want
Right.
before it even hits the ground. Okay, you ready? So say you want rentals or flip. Heads is rentals, tails is flip. Flip it, and I'm going to say call it in the air, and you'll call it. Because subconsciously you're like, heads, oh, I want rentals. Right? And that's how I get people back on the track. Because before it even hit the ground, subconsciously you already projected it out. So when you find yourself in limbo like that, say this is head, this is tails, flip it up. Whatever you yell is what you actually really want. And that'll help out a little bit with the conflict. Because like right now, when I first came in, I was all over the place when it came to the education. And now the only things I do now is multifamily and vacation rentals. That's it. I'll do a fix and flip if it lands on my lap. Like legitimately, if it lands on my lap, if I get a rental that lands on my lap, like I had one land on my lap last week, that's the only reason I'm doing it. It's a vet, it's about to lose his home from Bank of America, and I was like, nah, we're not gonna have that. So, but it landed on my lap. I didn't have to actively go find it, right? So if it's, for you, if it's not a rental and if it's not a note, then you've just opened up 90% of your day. The
Right.
power of no. Everybody know who Warren Buffett is? Do you know how many deals, major deals Warren Buffett's done in 80 years? No, 10. I was under the
But
wrong
they were
impression. I
10.
thought he did million. No, he's only done 10 major deals. That's it. So think about a fix and flip that where you make 80 grand. That's one major deal, right? Those don't happen every day. You'll make a lot of little ones. But if you focus on, if I'm only going after rentals and I'm only going after notes, that's it. And then it carries over to the marketing side. Because if you pick up rentals and you can speak a little bit better about the numbers than a property manager, right? Now they're like, ooh, what do you know? Oh, I don't know anything. I just know this little area. And that's how I bring a lot of people in. And I tell them, like, hey, you probably know way more than me, but I just know this one thing, you know. And then, bless you. But that way, that helps your marketing side. Because essentially, it's like a teeter-totter. It really is. You got to balance it out right. You know, if you want to do both sides of the business. And once you start doing it, then it starts going. And the more real estate you do, and you start posting stuff on Facebook, everybody wants to know what you're doing. Yeah. And as soon as they start doing that, like, that's free marketing. Like, I haven't put up a road sign in a year.
Right.
Because I've done this, you know, I've built, you know, we built a machine, But now I'm picking up, like, we're under contract for a 23-unit apartment building. My mom's freaking out right now because it's worth $1.2 billion, and she's with the inspector. She's like, oh my God, Benjamin. I'm like, what? It's just a number, right? Mom, it'll be all right. You know, we ran the numbers, you know, we're sending everything to CPA, right? So that's all I'm focusing on. But as soon as I did that, now I'm here. I got 2 buddies that are going to come see me. Like, all right, dude, seriously, what are you doing? You know what I'm doing. Let's go. Let's sit down, right? Because now you're pushing past those fears. Because we got in because whatever fear we had, we got over. We just have to learn to help them out. And then they're in. So, but congratulations on the book.
Oh, thanks.
That's awesome. Give them a round of applause. Your turn. Grab the mic.
I thought I was hiding well.
You were hiding well. Except you sit right next to one of my favorite instructors.
Oh.
You don't understand. Like, I bought an apartment building online through an auction analysis because of what he taught me to do. Him and John McCants. And it happened. They literally say, just do this and it'll work. And you're like, really? So what hurdles do you got today? Let's start with the marketing.
The marketing?
Yep.
Following up with, yes, yeah. I can talk and call people, but I usually I'm like part of that 94% that stop contact after the first contact.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Why
part
is
of
that?
Group. I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, okay. Either I forget about it,
Okay.
or I get too focused on talking to the next person who actually does come down, and if that one person comes down, I kind of focus on that person until they sign up.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when you move into your follow-up, what area are you not comfortable with in your conversations?
Asking for the sale.
I knew it. Yeah. So it's not that you're forgetting, right? Because if you ask that part of yourself that always tells you the truth, you know where she is, right? She'll say, where am I not comfortable? You know, like right away. So you're not comfortable asking for the sale. Let's look at that for a second. Okay. So, because that's huge, right? I think that's one of the biggest struggles we have. And I think as ladies, we sometimes struggle even more, I think, than some of you men with asking for the sale. So you're sitting down with this person. So run me through what's happening with you when you're sitting down to talk through a follow-up. What emotions are you experiencing?
At first, excitement that they got this far in the process.
Okay.
And, going through ATM with Richard and telling myself even before, it's like, this person's going to start with a combo tonight. Like, okay.
You got your inner diva going on right now. She's like,
oh, is it?
I got this. I got this. Yeah.
That's how we start off.
But that's a good space to be in, right? Because that's projecting confidence. Okay. Keep going.
That's because she just got her last guest qualified tonight, 5-star combo. She'll be 5-star qualified after that order goes in.
That's
Congratulations.
Right. Finally, it only took 5 iterations of ATM.
Doesn't matter.
But you got there and you didn't quit.
Yes.
Do you have many shots Michael Jordan's missed in his career?
A lot.
9,000.
Ugh.
Trusted with the game-winning shot 26 times and missed. But he succeeds because he fails. We learn from not succeeding. We learn all the ways in which not to do something. So back to what you're feeling. Okay. So you're sitting down and you're having the conversation. And you're projecting excitement, and then what happens?
Usually, it's easier for me to listen to them talk about their passions and where they want to be, and them having questions, and then whatever question they have, I just kind of parrot back what I've heard from how Kim does her follow-ups and how Kendall does his follow-ups, and just answer that way. And then once that's done, and they have no more questions, then I'm like, okay, I don't want to.
So at any
then that's
point
where my confidence goes down.
During this process, are you secretly sitting there going, gosh, I hope they just slide the credit card across the table and I don't have to ask for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Once.
Okay. So
I got it once.
How long have you been sitting with one-on-ones?
Not. I've been sitting in with
Right, but on your own. How many appointments have you sat, basically? Would you say?
One, I guess.
You've sat one-on-one.
By myself.
By yourself.
By myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, that makes perfect sense to me. So you said a lot of really great things in there. You know, you're sitting, you're excited, you're listening, right? Because that is the number one key, is listening to what the person is saying to you, because they're going to outline for you all the things in which they need. So the number one thing, and we do this when we speak and present from the front, is tying back what they need to the education. So in other words, if we were having a conversation,
Okay.
and I said to you,
Painful.
it is not painful, don't lie.
All the conversations are painful.
Oh, Lordy, I'm gonna kick you. So if we were having a conversation and I said to you, or actually asked me a question, let's show an example of a tie back.
Does this work?
Compared to what?
Well, yeah, I see all these people get in and it just doesn't work. How does this work? Will it work?
So when I hear somebody say something like that to me, when they say is something, what he's basically looking for is fact and truth. And so can I be a little bit shady with you guys for 1 second? I'm going to cast doubt on their own belief system. Compared to what? Oh. So like if I said to you, am I tall? What would you say?
Compared to who?
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Or I think I'm tall. And you'd say compared to who? So I'm going to cast doubt on his belief system, but I'm going to keep listening to what he's saying to me. Right? What he's really saying to me is, can you please reassure me that the thing that I really want to do is actually going to be good for me? So can you hear that in his voice when he's talking? Will this work for me? So what I usually say to people in that situation is like, well, I can hand you all the tools, I can hand you all the education, I can hook you up with Renatus, I can, be there with you when you take those first steps and answer all of your questions. But my question to you is, what will you do with what you're given? And I'll just put it lightly back in front of them and say, because the only variable here that I can't count on is what you're going to do with it. So I can introduce you to 15, 20 people in this community that are actively doing real estate. What's the one thing they all have in common? This is what I would say to that. Ben, what's the one thing they all have in common?
We do it.
They took action. So the answer to that question is, yes, it works if you work it. Would you like to see some examples of what that looks like? And then I would literally, remember we talked about the brag book? I would literally open the book up and say, hey, let's run some examples. There's all kinds of examples on that wall out there that you guys could compile into a book and just say, hey, you know what? I don't want to take up a ton of your time. And then we go back to Ben's example of the cocktail napkin. So if they're interested in a fix and flip, I might show them how to break the numbers down on a cocktail napkin with a crayon if I had to. One of the very first mentors I ever had said that. You need to be able to do the math in the moment and show them what you know. Because first they go, wow, and then they go, how? And that's when you have that opening, right? Whether it's an invite or a close. You ready to get started? And you can just ask, are you ready to get started? Okay. If the answer is no, then they're teetering. It's some type of what I usually call a smokescreen, and they're teetering on something. Either they're lacking confidence in the product, or they're lacking confidence in the company, or they're lacking confidence in you. And you want to kind of be gauging that on some level, right? Because wherever they're lacking, they're not going to sit there and say right to your face, well, I don't have confidence that you're going to help me. They're going to come up with some other type of an excuse. So you have to kind of gauge that, right? You have to watch their body language. When you say to them, I'm going to be with you on those first 3 to 5 deals, you can ask questions inside our community. You're going to be on the phone with Gavin, right? He's going to be creating that curriculum for you. And anytime you have a question, you're going to be talking to them on the phone, right? And then watching their body language to see where they're at.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you had that conversation now, what's another one? Because really what I hear you saying to me is, I'm not sure how to handle an objection.
Yeah. Well, because it took me like 3 appointments with Brennan to finally ask him if he's ready to upgrade.
Because what were you scared of?
I don't know. Like,
you're scared of the no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But do you believe that
Can I pause right there real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
What was his reaction today?
He was excited.
Repeat my question so she can hear. What did I ask?
He asked what was his reaction today?
And
after.
What was his reaction? Ben, you saw his reaction.
He was excited. He was ready to go.
Pretty stoked. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now I feel like, man, I did him a disservice by not asking sooner.
Well, it starts with your absolute and
Yeah.
total belief that the
Yeah.
information you're connecting them to is going to solve their problem and make their life better.
Yeah.
And when that comes from your core, other people sense that, they feel it, right? That you're looking out for his best interest. You know, it's not about the money, it's not about the commission, it's about connecting them to something that's going to make a difference in their life. And when they feel that coming off of you, then their confidence in you goes way up, their confidence in the company goes way up, and their confidence in what we're now calling a service goes way up.
That's my other fear. That's my other fear is projecting the feeling, because I don't want them to think I'm only having them upgrade or purchase the X combo because I'm getting something out of it. I want them to genuinely understand that this product will help them.
But are you responsible for their feelings?
No.
No. Are you responsible for their processing? Right?
Yeah.
You're a relay,
I
right?
know.
Right. So what you have to look at is what's going on in your, so something I call inner, outer, global. You have to look at what's happening in your own space. You're nervous, and you might be accidentally projecting that onto the other person. And what you need to remember is be confident. You have this. The information is there. The education is there, right? You don't have to fulfill any of that. Renatus is going to do that for you, right? So be confident, and then just be aware of where they're at. And you don't want to push any of those feelings off onto the person you're talking to. You just want to connect them to the information they need to make a good decision.
Let me ask you, as soon as he pulled the credit nav, which by the way, guys, do you know who brought credit nav to us? Krista! So here's the thing. She pokes her head in and she's like, hey, can we have a conversation about how to find the money? And I'm like, why are you poking your head in my door asking me to do that for you, Crystal? You've been through ATM 5 times.
You've been through Ron Williams 3 times, so.
It doesn't work.
I got you, Crystal. I got you.
Stop insulting the guy that buys his fudge, okay? Just knock it off.
You're fired.
I know. Look at what you just got us kicked out of our fudge. Knock it off.
Where's that fudge I bought you?
What happened to the box?
I'm just not signing up anymore. Like, I'm done. I've wasted $1,200. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Does it work or does I work? I don't know. But here's the crazy thing. You poked your head in and you were wanting me to go down finding the money for him again, right? And I put it right back on you. I'm like, Crystal, I'm not going to do your work. You know how to do this. First question, have you even put him through Credit Nav yet? No, I forgot how to do that. Yeah. Okay, so let's do it. That took all of 5 minutes. Okay? As soon as we logged him in and saw he was pre-qualified for 40 to 50, what feeling were you feeling at that point?
I could have done that. Amazement, I guess.
Yeah. How easy is that? Isn't
so
that easy?
Yeah.
It's so
really
easy. Yeah.
It went from going, wait a minute, I don't know if this guy has any money, because I didn't either. Yeah. And I'm like, don't waste my time until you've at least run a credit nav. Okay. Right? Let's at least run a credit nav, see where they're approved or not approved, or see what options. But let's eliminate the ones that we can eliminate right away. Right? And sometimes they get declined on credit nav, and they actually can go over to the other one, Eric's thing. Matt's got one that got declined because she has a bankruptcy, but Eric might actually be able to do something with them. Okay, cool. Right? But in a period of 5 minutes, she went from, I don't even want to ask him about his money, to where you didn't even have to. We just sort of pushed him over the edge. Yeah. That was awesome. And now you're going to be 5-star. Last week it was Teresa, this week it's you. Who's next week? There we go.
Who's next?
Thanks, Kendall.
Oh, wait, hold on for the microphone. We have a couple minutes.
We had a follow-up last week, and my people were ones at the end when they texted me at the end of the thing. By the end of the follow-up, it was kind of the follow-up from hell. Not on our part. I think we did everything that we could. I thought, but after hearing what you were saying about maybe it was us, now I have a whole new take on it.
You said follow-up from hell. Stay with that for a second.
It seemed like that because it was a couple, and the husband was not aware of the magnitude of the debt they were in until the follow-up.
Oh.
So we were going down the thing, and he was sweaty too. So we're sitting there through all of this. And
How was that roller coaster?
Yes, and I was sweating, my hands were sweating. But at the same time, if they don't do something, I mean, they're in a lot of, I mean, it's not that bad, I've seen worse, but the part is that he knew nothing about it. So it became an argument between them.
Yeah.
Plus, they had their 2 kids there during the thing, so I was
That,
like...
can I just tell you something and let you off the hook? That would be rough for even a very experienced closer because of the dynamic. Because in that situation, so would you guys agree when you're sitting with a team, it doesn't matter if it's a husband and wife or 2 friends and they want to do something, and when they're not on the same page, you're like, oh my gosh, which chicken am I chasing first? You know what I mean? So that would be rough for just about anybody, because now you're dealing with one person who's in shell shock and probably absolutely terrified. And when you're that scared, here's what happens. Your body dumps a bunch of adrenaline into your system, and then what happens to all of your motor skills? Right? So now sitting there and trying to make a decision about whether or not to go spend $20,000 on something is just like gone, bye-bye, right?
And I think Matt did really well diffusing the situation by telling some stories, and I think that they were a little more, I've talked to them a little bit since then, so they didn't fall off the face, but they were ones, you know, they want to get started, but it's, I don't know where to go from here.
So it's fear.
Yes.
So usually that's what it comes down to, is fear. So, you know, even just sitting them down collectively and saying, hey, like pre-framing it, saying, I know this is really stressful. You know, you obviously were hit with some news you were not aware of, but I know deep down you guys really want to do something about the situation. So what is the thing that's scaring you the most? And then just be quiet and let them talk, because he's going to put it all out there on the table. Sometimes for people to make a decision, and I know you've probably seen them, you'll have people show up occasionally to events and they're kind of like this. Or maybe they're a little bit angry or negative, and sometimes what people need to do is dump out what they're thinking and they're feeling in front of you on the table, have you not react to it at all, right? And say it's okay, validate what they're feeling, and then they can go forward and actually do something about it. But while it's all bottled up inside, you're not going to move them on that line from interested to done, right? Because they're in their own way, so that just needs to come out. And giving them permission to just say, let's just have, you know, a conversation. Hey guys, some of this is none of my business, but I want to help you. And I know that feeling that you have. It's right here, you know, when we're scared about how we're going to take care of something or pay something off. Sleepless nights, anxiety, I don't know. I would feel that way. I don't know. Are you feeling like that? And the connection comes through, and then they may feel comfortable enough to say, oh my gosh, yeah, I can't sleep at night. Okay, I want to show you how we're going to take care of that, how coming on board with this, even though this is a big decision to spend more money right now when you just found out you have all this debt, is actually going to be the best decision you ever made. Can I show you that? Get the agreement in advance. Yes. All right, let's look at velocity banking. Let's look at how we're going to get rid of all this debt while we roll your education cost, which by the way is going to be a tax write-off to your business, into it, and show you how you're going to get it all paid for. Can we do that?
So I need to go back and have that conversation, because she's still posting on Facebook, you know, about not being able to find a job, how bad her debt is, and all of that. And I was like,
which is a huge cry for you to step in and say, let me show you how we get it done. Right? When people are that scared, they need you to kind of take them by the hand and just gently lead them down the path. You're not pushing, you're not shoving, but you're like, come on, let's go. Come on, no, we're just going to go do this thing over here. No, it's not that scary. Come on, let's go. Really, no, there are some personality types that they need that. They need you to give them permission to do it, and then they need you to just do it. Give it a try. See where you get with it. Get them re-engaged. You can do it.
okay.
You got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right.
Perfect. I'm going to mute mine before I go to the bathroom.
Hey, Ken,